Hi, welcome to Chris Cook for You Too. So tonight I'm going to be bringing you something that I think will be a benefit when you're making your Thanksgiving Day dinner, and that's going to be how to make your broth that you're going to actually put into your dressing. Now, a lot of people will just go to the store and buy, a container of broth, and that'll do. But I do mine a little bit differently. I like using the broth that comes straight from the chicken. So as I move closer to the holiday, I make certain that I go ahead and I have one of my meals that would be some baked chicken, so I can get me plenty of rich broth in order to go into my dressing. So when you get ready to do this, if this is your choice, when you get ready to do it, you want to make sure that when you're seasoning your chicken, that you're going to use seasoning that would actually go with your dressing, work with you and not against you. What do I mean by that? You don't want to make a chicken, say, with some type of Italian seasoning, because that's not going to go with what you're actually going to be using the broth for. So what you want to do is you want to use some ingredients, if not all of the ingredients that you would actually be putting into your dressing. That way you will have a rich broth instead of having something that's more watery and more non-tasteful, if I can put it that way. Now, with this particular broth that I'm making, absolutely no water. No water at all. So everything that we get is going to be coming straight from the chicken itself. So that's going to be a richer broth because it's not going to be diluted. So let's get started with the ingredients that you're going to need in order to make this broth. Now tonight for dinner, I'm going to be having some steamed rice with some type of vegetable and some baked chicken. So that's my dinner here. But then it gives me an opportunity to take the broth from the chicken and actually put it up to get ready for my holiday meal. And again, I tell you, you always want to work with yourself, but that's by working smarter and not harder. So let's just do this. Now, I remember cleaning a chicken a couple of weeks back, and so I just took that out of my freezer and showed you how to clean it. You can look at that recipe if you need to. But then I thawed that chicken out and I pat dried it. And I'm going to get ready to season it. Now I'm going to do this a little bit differently because this is the way that I do mine. Oh, let me tell you the ingredients. I'm only going to use a little bit of paprika because I don't want that paprika really exposed in my dressing. So it'll be a little bit of that. I'm going to use, this is my poultry seasoning, my celery salt, some regular salt. This is garlic powder. There it is if you can't see it. Onion powder. And some sage. Those are primarily the ingredients that I'm going to use in my dressing, with the exception of this paprika. I don't use a lot of paprika in my dressing. Matter of fact, I don't really use it at all. So I'm just going to put a hint. Now, why am I doing it with this pan? I'll show you what I'm doing. Why am I just putting my seasonings in this pan? Because I'm not going to flip that chicken. There's no need for me to do that. So, if I put all this down for the sake of time, I can have all this. I left them open, all of my tops all open, so that this could be a faster way of me showing you this. Now that chicken, and you're going to see it because I'm going to show it to you. That chicken, I have 2 chickens, I think it is. It's going to produce a whole lot of broth. I mean a lot of broth, and it'll be enough. And I use carnation milk as well. But it'll be enough for me to actually get my dressing out here. And if I get a chance, which I'm not sure whether or not I will because we're working so close to the holiday, I'll show you how I make my cornbread as well. Now I go heavy on my onion powder, which is what you see, and I go heavy on my garlic powder. And I lean back a little bit when it comes to my other seasonings, like what I have in my hand, which is my sage and other seasonings. So I'm going to go ahead. That's that side of my chicken. Okay? The back side I'm putting in here now. So what I don't have to do is to go back. Now we're going to cook this at 350 degrees. Roughly about an hour, hour 15 minutes is all that we actually need to do this for. But the back side, if you can see, is done. So I don't have to be flipping this backwards and forth. Okay. Now, since the back side is done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the front side of this. Now, you don't have to put butter or nothing. Make certain that you don't put any water, because the way this works is, that's just my salt. Go over to the poultry seasoning. The way this actually works is I'm going to cover it and allow it to steam cook, because what happens is, just like our bodies, when the heat hits it, it's going to start to sweat. And that sweat is actually your chicken broth. So if I have this covered, there's no place for this chicken, the sweat, to escape. So that means that sweat will produce more moisture, which again will produce more of the chicken broth, if you follow what it is that I'm saying. Okay. Now, how fast and easy was that? Now, I'm going to have to open this up, and I'm going to have to take, it's going to be so much broth in here that I'm going to have to take it. And what you do with the broth is you find you a container and you put it in, allow it to cool, and it can keep in your refrigerator, or you can go ahead and freeze it. Now I have that done. So I'm going to take a piece of aluminum foil. That's it. You see no liquids. You see no butter. None of that. Okay? So we're going to go ahead, but you're going to see a whole lot of rich broth. So we're going to go ahead and cover this. And you want to make sure that you cover it good, because now comes the good part. And this is going to make your dressing be oh so good. And you know that the more moisture you have in your dressing, the less dry your dressing is going to be. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to add any butter, because you are, but you're going to add that when you get ready to actually mix up your dressing. So this is the way I'm going to do it. Put it in a 350 degree oven and allow that to go ahead and cook. And I've already preheated my oven. Allow this to go ahead and cook for at least about an hour and a half. I'll bring you back one time and show you when I collect all of that broth. I'll show you actually what it looks like. But this is the best way to do it if you want a rich, good dressing. I'll be back in about at least 45 minutes. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Oh, and it's hot. I'll take this out of the oven. And I'm going to show you what it looks like at this point. It smells just like dressing. So it's at this point, you're going to take it off and let it bake the rest of the way. Now, you know I didn't put any water, no butter, no any of that in it. Now it's time for it to brown. So I'm going to go ahead and pour off. Look at that. See how rich looking that is? Now this is what you want to go in your pot. Okay, when you're dressing, when you get ready to make your dressing, this is what you want, because you see those oils that are sitting on the top of this liquid. That's all nothing but chicken stock. So that's the flavor that you're going to get from that. So now I'll take my chicken and I'll put it back in the oven and I'll bake it off for dinner. But I got what I went for, which is my liquids. Now you're going to pick up a little bit from your turkey, but you're not going to pick up enough. So that will help you in it. That's what I want to bring to you today. I'll post a picture of the chicken, how it baked off, so you can see it. But that wasn't really the reason why I did it. I did it so I could get this broth from it. So that's what I'm bringing to you. Chris is making her broth for her homemade dressing for her Thanksgiving Day dinner. And as always, thank you for watching. Chris Cook for You Too. Bye. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Chris Cook for You Too. And don't forget to share this video. Bye.